Good day, everyone. Um, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to my diehard subscribers and followers, especially on the programming videos. All right. Today I am going to discuss Python building structure. Okay, or shall I say Python syntax. Right. And hopefully by next video, because this is my second video of Python programming tutorials, and on my third video I'll be able to start discussing sample program of uh, a program using Python language. Okay, so in this particular video, at the end of this, I hope I'll be able to discuss deep uh, in as much as syntax of Python program or statement is concerned. And if we are to handle blocks, all right, um, how is that so in Python programming, right? And if we are to do some comments along the way while we are trying to have our program, because in programming, if you are dealing with huge program, and if for example a program is being created by several programmers, you are supposed to do some comments, right? So in C programming language, we have also the comments way, all right? And in Python, I'll try to discuss in this particular video, right? So today I'll just I'd love to bring you to my online compiler, my online yes Python compiler, and we'll try to discuss the structure of Python programming language. Okay, so I hope my internet is okay, right? Because lately, last week I had this bad yeah connection with my internet. Okay, so here all right. Now, if we are going to do Python programming, what is then the syntax, the common syntax of each statement? Because in C programming language, each statement must end with semicolon. Okay, semicolon is actually the demarcation line of C. How about in Python? Right now, in Python, we don't need semicolon. All right. For example, if you are going to assign one to variable a, all right. I'm sorry. My internet is a little bit slow. Um, if we are going to assign one to a, and eventually if we're going to display the content of a, all we have to do is to have this kind of code. All right, please follow my screen. I did assign one to a by way of using equal sign. Equal sign in Python programming is an assignment statement. Whatever is in the right, all right, the numeric part will be assigned to right variable. In C programming, you need to do some semicolon, but in Python, no need, right? No need. Even the display of the content of A, you don't need to have semicolon. In C, you have to issue print or print in, but in Python, just type print and then A. We'll try clicking this one. Okay. So here, I am now displaying the value of A, which is 1. Right? So when you are to do Python programming, you don't need to put semicolon. Right? And what if you have longer or uh, statement? For example, when you say 1 plus 2 plus 3, right? Plus 4, I'm sorry, right? Plus 5, plus 6, right? Plus and so on and so forth. And then you need to go down, no problem, right? All you have to do is to add backslash and press enter key. And then continue. 7, right? Plus 8, plus 9, plus 10, plus 11, right? Plus 12. And if there's a need for you to go down, then issue backslash, right? And continue. 13 plus 14 plus 15 and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, in Python programming, once Python compiler meet backslash, the compiler will tend to treat the next line as part of the first line. Okay. So in this particular example, this is actually right one single statement. Though it occupies the 3 lines, but then because of this backslash, right? Because in Python, this means what? Continuation. So we'll try clicking run button. And this program will display the total or the sum of 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to plus 15. Okay? So that's what? That's multi-line statements in Python programming. Okay? So that's it. Or, right? Instead of using backslash, right? You can add parentheses in there, right? And of course, eliminating the backslash. And in this particular presentation, this is again one single statement, right? So when you press run button, it will still run. So that's how friendly and simple is Python programming. You can even use square bracket, right? When you use square bracket, Python will then compute the total amount of this 1 plus 2 plus 3. But then when we say print the value of a, it will display with matching square bracket. Right? Look at this, 120 with a square bracket. So it's still compute. And again, what I'm trying to say is this is what? Multi-line statement. It occupies several lines and still Python consider it as what? A single statement. Or you can even use, right? You can even use curly bracket, right? It will still compute and still Python interpret this one as a single statement. Okay. So when you click run command, it still computes for the total, and with this time with matching curly bracket. Not like in parentheses, that when you use parentheses, right, and when you press enter K, it only displays 120 without parentheses. But when you tend to use square bracket and curly brackets, the brackets are included as output. Okay, and again, multi-line way of doing things. Okay, now what if you have a right plus 1? I'm sorry. A, and you have B3 for example, and you have 7 for example, and then you display, or you wanted to display the total of A, B, and C. You can do this by way of this presentation, and it computes for the content of A, B, and C. In Python, if you want to have this in a single line, all you have to do is to separate it with semicolon, right? Like this one, semicolon. Okay, and when you print the value of this, it will still display the total of A, B, and C. This is actually multi-statement in a single line, right? A while ago, I was discussing about multi-line in a single statement, meaning you have several lines, but by using backslash or by using parentheses or square bracket, curly brackets, Python tend to consider it as a single statement, though it occupies several lines. In this particular example, it's there are several statements, but it occupies a single line only, and you can only do that by way of separating each statement by semicolon. Somewhat similar to C programming language, right? But then the last value doesn't have or doesn't need to have a semicolon, right? So that's it. That's multi-statement in a single line. Okay, so I hope I was able to explain the behavior, the syntax, the structure of Python statements. Now, how about curly brackets? How about blanks? Because in for example in C programming language, when you say for uh, for I is equal to 1 semicolon, I is less than or equal to 10, right? Then I plus, and if you want to have several statement under for loop statement, all you need to do is, diba? You need to have right? You need to have curly brackets as part of what? For example, I'm sorry, print if what is this? Print if something like that. Percent D, right? Comma, whatever is the value of I, right? If you can remember in our C programming tutorials, right? Percent D, comma, then I times I. That's it, right? And in this particular presentation, we tend to use curly brackets because these two lines are actually is considered as black. And in C programming language, to make this part as black, you need to have curly brackets, right? In Python programming, how are we going to deal with, with blacks, right? How are we going to deal with blacks? Um, Simple. We have here for I, let us say in range of shall I say right, 1 to 11, right? This is actually the syntax of, I'm going to present video discussing about each statement with examples. My concern today is how are we dealing with the syntax of Python. That's it. Do not ask it what is the syntax of for loop, what is the syntax of print. No, the Python in general, right? Python in general. Okay, this is how we do programming in Python. If we are going to print the value of I, right? And if we are going to print I times I, right? That's it, right? So in C programming language, you need to put curly brackets to consider that as a block. But in Python programming, it's a mere indentation. As long as you are consistent with your indentation, then that is a block. Now in this particular example, print I and print I times I is actually considered as a block. Meaning, if the value of I is within the range of 1 to 11, then this block will be performed. Right? So instead of using curly brackets to consider it as a block in Python, you don't need to put curly brackets. It's a merely indentation. Indent and be consistent. That's it. And when we are going to execute this program, then it will display what? The value of I up to how much? 10. because in this particular range, Python programming will only compute if I is equal to 1 up to 10. Okay, I'm going to discuss the technicalities of this in a separate video. Okay, because like I said, my concern now is on the syntax, the structure of a Python programming language. How are we going to create programs in Python? Right. So I hope I was able to, right. Um, Here, there are a lot of presentation. For example, here, instead of black, you can just, right, display this one. And this is what a multi-statement, a single line. Separate it with a semicolon and display this. And when you click run button, Python will still execute your program. Okay, the same screen output. All right. So how about comments? Um, in Python, for as long as you have the sharp sign, and please click subscribe for, right, this one. This is what this is already this is a comment. Okay, all you have to do is to put sharp or hash symbol on the left side, and that's a comment already, right? In C, you have to do some slashing, right? Backslash or backslash asterisk, and then, right, so that's it. Or you can just have what, um, triple indentation. Sorry, this one. Okay, and all right, here triple. Then this is still what? This is still a comment. So in Python programming, you can either use hashtag or triple double quote. Then that's comment, right? Like I said, when you are dealing with huge programs, and if a particular program is being divided into modules, right, and you are only tasked to create a particular module, you are required to do some comments in there in between the programs, so that somebody will come in and make use of your module. Then he will be guided through your comments. That's it. So I think that's all about this video. I hope I was able to discuss the basic of um, Python programming language, right? And on my next video, I'll be discussing programming example using Python programming language. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video. I hope I was able to share something on Python programming tutorials. And please click subscribe button and do some sharing to your friends, relatives, right? So that in a way, my subscribers will be increased. Thank you so much. God bless you. God is good.